Welcome back to another video. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. It's in the same time frame that I filmed the last video, but I just decided to change the shirt so you guys can see that it's a different day. Besides that, this is gonna be a breakdown on what exactly went wrong with part two. We're gonna talk about Harumi. We're gonna talk about the ending. We're going to talk about some of the choices that they made throughout part two. And just an overall what elements and decisions that they chose that kind of made the finale fall on its ass. Uh, and to start things off, the main important thing, the 11-minute format, that did not help at all. Now there has been some episodes, some seasons where the 11 format did actually work in its benefit, but at the same time, for this particular storyline and what the goal was, it doesn't help, especially with the final episode. It 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 doesn't work for it. It doesn't work. Excuse me, my allergies are acting up as the time of me recording this, so if you hear me sniffling here and there, I apologize. Um, so since we got that out of the way, that's number one. Some of the character directions that they went, that is number two. When I say that, an example for Lloyd, uh, I thought that they were gonna go down the route of him embracing his Oni side, which is what they kept on hinting to in the trailer, and what they also alluded to in with the sense of him being, having the golden Oni form, the golden Ultra Dragon. People assume that he was gonna embrace his Oni side and be balanced with both sides, both half bloods that he is. Fortunately, that was not the case. As you saw when he did transform into his Oni form, he looked at himself in a reflection and then got spooked and then went back to normal. And it kind of like, and also his like hatred towards Oni throughout the whole second half, especially once he meets up with Garmadon again, is just it doesn't add up. It really doesn't add up because he goes on to saying that Oni, they don't understand about caring or compassion or show any signs of emotions besides just being evil along with destruction, when that's not really the case. They're Onis are just known for destruction. They're not purely known for evil, because there's also Onis that are good. Example, Mistake. She is a prime example of being an Oni, full blood Oni, mind you, while also being pure of heart and helping others and showing caring and all that good stuff. Now, point number three is pacing. Pacing did it also falls in the same thing with the 11-minute format. Pacing is what killed the finale, and that a lot of things had to be put into that 11 minutes, and it didn't work. You had the ninja destroying the golden weapons by putting them together, and then you know the golden ultra dragon fighting the overlord, and then the whole ending part where it's just like, oh, we did everything, now it's time to rebuild, to then them just straight up going into them rebuilding the monastery. All of that happened within 11 minutes. Excuse me. All that happened within 11 minutes. And it felt like that they should have had a few more episodes to fully tie things off, because it just didn't work. And it it a lot of things can you know it's hard to say, but it kind of messes up and falls, it trips over itself with the whole pacing. They're trying to do too many things with such a small runtime. But this is just me analyzing. It's you doing analysis. I'm not actually gonna say what I think that they should have done. I think because as far as right now, I'm probably gonna make that video afterwards of what they should have done. But right now, I'm just saying what went wrong. Sorry. And then more importantly, consequences and sacrifices. That is a major thing that they did not care for. We had a fake out death in the finale, that being Garmadon. You know, Garmadon faked or was acting so he can give Lloyd that final push for him to go to his Oni form, and it it's just like, why go through all that effort if you're just gonna do it for that bit, just for it to not even go through? Like they did essentially they did that for no reason because they're like, all right, cool. Garmadon's dead. Lloyd transforms into his Oni form, and then he just reverts back to normal and uses the power of creation to stop the Overlord. Which even then we don't even know if he truly got defeated. I mean, destroyed instead of just defeated. We don't know. They never answer that question. It's they didn't really answer that much questions to begin with. So then, so you got that. Now for this particular thing, I do want to talk about what they should have done. For two examples, Garmadon dying, that should have what happened right there and then. Uh, whatchamacallit? Wu. Wu had the perfect opportunity to die while fighting the Crystal King head on in a 1v1. That was a perfect opportunity to show that he is here and he's not playing around at all, because he said it himself, I need to make sure you're the first one to fall. And what happens? What the fuck? And then what happens? Nothing. Wu escapes and then he does Wu stuff. But at the same time, if it wasn't for Wu, then we wouldn't have gotten the Dragon Force then, which, but besides that, they should have had him just die there. It would show that there, you know, that if doing anything out of like anger or frustration would lead to stuff like that, they should have just done that. Now, when I say consequences, meaning that they should have played with the idea that once they go into their dragon forms, there is no way of going back to normal. They should have just done that instead of, just say, oh, because they didn't really specify the, what would happen after they did the thing. They just said, once the allies are united, through the whole process, and then you turn into the Dragon Force, and then you go from there. They didn't say if it was if it had a long lasting effect of them being in that form permanently, and all of that. And then another issue, the ninja losing their powers for like the fifth or sixth time. I don't know how many times it's been, but I know it's haven't been the first time. Um, because you got the time where Lord got possessed, and then you got the time with the Tournament of Power, and then you got rebooted, which before then they didn't even have the power, and then season two before they got the Elemental Blade, so that would be one, two, three. So far, three times, and then you got the season two when they lost the golden weapons. Then you got uh rebooted when they lost the elemental blades, And then you got Tournament of Elements. Then you got Possession. And then you sort of got there's only been like four instances, and then Crystallized being the fifth one for like the main team. They lost it 5 times, and eventually they got it back, right? Because what they decided to do is, instead of just making the idea of the dragon forms and then actually fusing to be the golden dragon, ultra dragon, they just said, you know what, combine the golden weapons, and then the elemental powers connected to them will form it back to the original state that it was, being the golden ultra dragon. And then poof, it just returned which it came from, which that's bullshit. That's complete bullshit. And then only result of that is that they go back to normal, and they're like, "Oh, my powers are gone," and all that nonsense, right? So you got that, and then another point of what really made people frustrated is Harumi, and how she does not face any consequence at all for everything she's done since, including Crystallized, Hunted, and Sons of Garmadon. None of it. They just let her off the hook because she fought against the Overlord in the final battle. And that's it. The funny thing about it is that Lloyd felt so, like, he felt in character, but he felt out of character at the same time. Lloyd got mad at Garmadon and got annoyed with Garmadon and got irritated with him. But then when it came down to Harumi, that's where he wants to be all sentimental. So it'd be like, oh, you know, all this, that, and the third. It's like, why do you feel this way towards her, but then you feel the complete opposite when it's Garmadon? Like, it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. And that's one thing that people are mad about, is that Lloyd was so easily and accepting open arms for Harumi, but then he is like, he's so, I don't want nothing to do with my father. Like, it doesn't make any sense. How are you gonna get mad at her, like be open with her, and then get so mad with him? Doesn't add up. And that's like that's what makes the finale fall on its asses, because it does the one thing that nobody wanted. Nobody wanted Harumi to be redeemed. Nobody wanted her to be let off the hook with all the shit that she done. Nobody. Excuse me. Nobody wanted that. I mean, nobody. And then, what also made it go, sort of downhill, is that the lack of utilizing the council. The moment they get their cool outfits and become generals, you hardly see them in part two. You hardly see them. The moment, I kid you not, Harumi and the Crystal King got more screen time than the entire council after in part two. The moment the Overlord takes form, they pretty much just have him as like the center of everything for the rest of the part two. They have the most with the generals, but then even then it's like only like a few seconds and a few minutes of an episode in the overall grand scheme of part two. So like their screen time is non-existent compared to the Crystal King, and it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous, and apparently it is true. Some characters are, sexist, because you got the mechanic going off on Nia because she's a girl. All because she doesn't have powers. You're like, oh shit, well, she doesn't got powers. You're a girl, so that doesn't make you like. He's just going off for no reason. for no reason. So that's another, example. And is like they were doing good. Once part two showed like went off. Actually, going back to Harumi, her character was good so far. It showed that she was still evil with the intent of still being evil, with her knowing that I don't want to be good or anything like that. When in the first few episodes of part two, before things started to go downhill for her, she was showing so much resentment of being good. She's like, no, join us, you know, be evil on our side, rada 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 rada. But then the moment the Overlord revealed that he was the reason why Garmadon got bit by the snake in the first place, that was when everything went downhill for that. And in my reaction, I felt conflicted. I was like, cool, she's getting her revenge for her parents finally. It's long overdue for her to do that. At least she's doing it in means that's, not putting everyone else at risk and trying to make other people into her. But what I don't understand is that Harumi heard all this stuff, but yet the information that the Overlord dropped in regards to Garmon, truth be told, has nothing to do with Harumi's backstory. It doesn't. She got mad at the Overlord for honestly no reason. The Overlord was the one that released the Great Devourer. He wasn't. He strictly said, who do you think was the, like, he just straight up said, hey, listen, I possessed that snake to set a course to bite you, and that was it. Just so I can have a perfect body for my return. That was it. So that means that when the Overlord Garland met for the first time, the Overlord already knew that he was going to do the thing that he did with Garmadon. That's why he already knew what he had in mind when he first met him back in season two. Meaning that was his whole subplot. And then everything that happened with back to reboot it and then to now, yeah, that was it. But her getting mad at him and trying to avenge her parents and everything that she lost, she's getting mad at the wrong person. The real person who she should be getting going off on is Pythor, the one who actually went out his way to gather the four fang blades to release the damn snake. He's the reason why all of that went down. Not the Overlord, but no, because since he's so conveniently there, and Harumi was already having conflicted feelings because of it, because, oh, don't destroy Lloyd. Even though the Overlord clearly said, like, bro, you still got feelings. And she was like, I got feelings. I don't got feelings for him. I hate him and all that bullshit. Bullshit. Because every time the Overlord was near you and he was talking about killing this man, you were like, wait. But yeah, it's just they should have just stuck with the idea of her being evil and that there was no point of trying to fix her. And then boom, finale happens. They're like, even the ninja were hesitant at first. Jay went to go hug Lloyd after everything was said and done, and then the moment the four saw Harumi here, they were like, "Why the fuck is she here?" And then Lloyd was like, "But wait, guys, she's with us. Why? Lock her ass up." And then what got me even more mad, because I started getting angry when he said that line, and then towards the end, they were showing that she was in the background helping rebuild the monastery. Even though she's the reason why it blew up in the first place. She made the fucking spiders. But anyway, that's what went wrong. Is that they did all that stuff the opposite of what they should have done. They did the complete opposite of what everyone wanted. They did the complete friggin' opposite. They talked up a bit about it being having high stakes. hyping this up to be the grand slam conclusion, and then it was the complete opposite. The complete opposite. There was not that much high stakes, little to no consequences, no sacrifices. Which the description for this friggin' final episode was after the ninja do a selfless act in order to save. Like, there wasn't. It really wasn't, because they ended up being rewarded with them being able to go back to their normal lives. In return, they just lost their elemental powers, which even then is truly not gone, because I kid you not, after we got the finale, a whole friggin' book via Barnes and Noble got leaked saying, in this book, the ninja go on a quest to go find the elemental powers and face a foe or a new foe slash foe that they fought before in an unforgettable adventure from a forgettable adventure from their past. Newsflash for those that don't know what the hell that means. It means they're gonna fight Nauticon. Yeah. And I'm sorry if this is some big old twist for somebody that's watching this and genuinely wanted to figure out what that. Excuse me. Excuse me. Who wanted to figure out that grand prize, when the book gets officially announced or when it comes out. I'm sorry to hate burst your boat, but that's fucking Nauticon. There's only one villain in the whole continuity that had a quote unquote forgotten adventure. Because everything, the events of every season has happened except for Seabound. Skybound. Seabound was Skybound was the season that got reversed. But only Nia and Jay know about the events of Skybound. But yeah, that is my breakdown on what went wrong. There was a lot of things that did go wrong with it, but I will also make another. I just listen. I'm keeping $1.50 with y'all. I'm milking the hell out of these videos. All right. I'm gonna be completely honest. I've only been making videos because of Crystalized and all that, so I just wanted to get my views and let me see what I can do. But yeah, I got 2 more videos that I want to do. That being the the stuff that I did like about it, and along with what they should have done instead, or you know, yeah, just but I feel like that one about what they should have done instead is gonna be like a shorter video because there's not a lot of things that could have been fixed. That was probably that they could have done in their control. Oh, yeah, one thing that seems to be a very common thing when everyone talks about the finale, they should have used the classical overture instead of Inner Steel. That's it. That's it. That's it. No one wanted that. I kid you not. Nobody wanted that. Just as how nobody wanted Harumi to be redeemed. Excuse me. One other thing, actually, now that I'm here talking about what went wrong, you mean to tell me that that they treated Garmadon of his whole resurrection as them? Like, is it like, is it 2 different identities of him being the only side and him having the both sides, and one being Sensei Garmadon? You know, it kind of like bugged me a lot, but I did like the fact that they had, you know, Garmadon's voice actor use his Sensei Garmadon like tone. But why didn't they just make him shapeshift to look like Sensei Garmadon? Was it that hard? Was it that hard? You went the first step of making him sound like Sensei Garmadon, but then you completely forgot the fact that Oni can shapeshift. Like, you show him morphing back into having 2 arms, and then show him go back into having 4 arms. Like, huh? What? Because he goes from the form that he took when he got resurrected. Him having the four arms and the armor with the open rib cage, right? And then in the episode where he's explaining what happened to it, which by the way, they make it seem like the comics never happened, which is very unfortunate because they're hyping it up, saying this comic is canon to the overall story. It's placed right after March of the Oni, and then they show or don't even. The thing is, the crazy part about it is they don't even allude to it. They don't have Garan say, "Well, I just recently helped this village and all that." No, no, he doesn't. People may think that when he said, "I just recently helped some people out," they're probably thinking that he referred to the comics. No, he was referring to the literal ending of March of the Oni when they did the Tornado of Creation. How is it? There's not a sliver mention of the comic, which makes me think that the comic was a last minute idea afterwards, even though the comic was going on while the fucking part two was taking forever to come. But regardless, yeah, that was it. They don't utilize the fact that Oni can shapeshift. Like, is it because they're half blood? Is it because they don't get to utilize all of their abilities? Maybe who knows? Who knows? If guess we'll never find out because we'll never know because apparently the 2023 series is not a continuity or not a continuation of where Crystalized picked up. A lot of people are getting confused and people are telling other people saying, "Oh no, it's a continue." It's not. It's a completely different series. They even said that most people would consider, not to consider it the next season. It's a whole different series. So as far as this, because I'm already seeing people on here spread out misinformation. The new series that's coming out next year is not a continuation. It's not. It does not pick up where Crystallized left off. It's a whole different thing on its own. We have no idea what's gonna happen. We don't even know if it's gonna be the same ninja. We don't. So please, for the love of God, stop spreading misinformation. Stop. Almost took it with the one take, but stop spreading misinformation. Anyway, this is Tyler A713. I will see you guys on another video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.